Hey, Riddle here. I am not going to use a filter because I am horribly against that movement in our social progress. I'm going to call it progress, even though I think it's deprogressive. I had some surgery. I had to have some things cut out of my face. I got some big, nasty wounds that are healing. Live with it. Okay, on to my topic. Aquafina. So, I don't know if you followed this actress, but she's an actress, she's a comedian, she's other things. I enjoyed her work. I've enjoyed her work. And often, when you see her speak publicly, she has a, I don't want to call it a black accent. I want to call it a contemporary accent, but recently she's been attacked by the cancel culture Nazis, saying that she is appropriating the black accent or the black language. And now all these people who can't think for themselves are going to jump on this bandwagon and basically bury her career for a while. Now, why is this wrong and why is this dangerous? First of all, who dictates how we want to speak? And by definition, if you have an idea of what an Asian American woman is supposed to speak like and sound like, isn't that the definition of extreme racism? Like, why doesn't she have a choice to represent herself any way that she'd like? And if suddenly everything that is even similar to a certain culture stereotype is going to be against the laws of these fools that can't think for themselves and have way too much time on their hands, if you ask me, to do, then all of a sudden that's going to mean that African Americans can't dye their hair blonde anymore, because that means that they're appropriating the white race then, right? Fairness, right? If you want sanity in a culture, it has to be, have continuity, or it just doesn't make sense, and it's going to create madness. And that's what we're seeing right now in the world in regards to hyper ideas around appropriation, I believe. I'm going to tell you another story, a personal story, because as you know, if you follow my channel, if you can watch for more than 2 minutes into these videos, I had a colleague who is an artist, and he paints realistic human figures. And he is from Mexico City. He's half Mexican, half Italian. He does beautiful work, and he's doing really well in Los Angeles right now. He had this opportunity that he started working with a gallery that was owned by a African-American gallerist, and they were going to do this boutique show at a home in Beverly Hills owned by a wealthy black patron. So Ariel was very excited. It's a new cultural step for him. Shows up with his paintings. Everything's hung. Ariel, as most people in Los Angeles, has a amazing mixture of friends. When you live in a city like Los Angeles, if you don't have a diverse group of friends, usually there's something wrong with you. So Ariel's friends are from every walk of life, every demographic, and are every race you can imagine. And one of his dearest friends just happens to be a woman of color. So he and she talked and decided that he was going to do this painting of her. They also decided they were going to paint her skin tone a little even darker than she was. And he did this painting, and this was prior to his commitment to do this boutique show in Beverly Hills at this African-American person's home. So all of a sudden, parties going, places full of predominantly heavy-hitting African-Americans, and this black woman walks up to him and all of a sudden just starts attacking him, because she is screaming at him and cursing at him that he is not only appropriating the African American culture, but profiting off of it. Because how dare he do a painting of a black woman? Damned if you do, damned if you don't, is all I'm saying. Now, Ariel, English is his second language. He's also not a fighter. He's a pacifist. So he took the punches. Everyone jumped on the bandwagon at the party because there was a bunch of other cowards there that can't think. And basically, he was just embarrassed, and the whole thing was a big mess. No one defended him, including the gallerist. Shame on him. Spineless, stupid people. I would have, this is what I would have said to her. I would have said, bitch, and I mean bitch, back off. Because I paint whatever I want to, including my friends. So if you don't want to buy the painting, we're done here. Ugh. Anyway, but see, he lives in LA where he knows the how detrimental speaking the truth or defending yourself against these crazies can be. He knows, because then it would have been turned around and he would have been the racist. He would have been the bad guy. He would have been this. But then if he didn't paint any other race at all, he's a racist. But if he paints someone of a different race, then he's appropriating. Do you see what's happening here? Do you see the madness that's being created? There are just some places in life, in art, in culture, that it is what it is. I grew up in a predominantly black neighborhood. I never took on the diction of the culture. That being said, I had friends that did, that were white, Mexican, what have you. It worked for them. They connected to the culture. I didn't connect to the culture. I have a nephew, always had all African American friends, speaks in a Ebonical dialect. I'm not going to say he speaks like African American, because I know African Americans that speak this perfect, like, British English, because that's their choice, because that's how they like to represent themselves. Either or, it's a personal choice. A personal choice. So, that being said, these people who think they're defending something, the cancel culture, hyper freaking control freaks, are actually systematically taking away basic rights of expression, especially. And this is what Nazis did. This is what fascists do. They have no idea that they are becoming an organized fascist movement. An organized fascist movement that has the power to dramatically affect people's health and well-being, especially economically. And to what ends, I ask you? To what ends? To the ends that they are racism. That's the irony. They are extremely racist because they think they can dictate exactly what someone's allowed to do, how they're supposed to look, how they're allowed to speak, based on whatever they perceive their race to be. It's really dangerous. It's really dangerous, everybody. It's really dangerous, and we need to stop it. We need to stop these people. They need to be squeezed out and put in controlled. They need to be controlled, because they're really going to mess a lot of things up, and they are messing up a lot of things, and they're ruining people's lives unnecessarily. That's all I have to say. It's a dangerous movement. Think about this stuff before you jump on the bandwagon. Look at it with critical thinking. Is it balanced? Is it fair on both sides? Does it really make sense? Should I be able to have blonde hair? Should you be able to have braids? It's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, leave your comments below. This will be an interesting one.